We're here live at HCIC, the Healthcare Interactive Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm sitting down with my good friend Matt Sear. Matt, welcome.
Good to see you, Chris. Great to be here.
Great to see you. I always love running into you at conferences, but spoiler, I talk to him a number of times a month.
All the time.
We text each other all the time.
All the time.
But
all
Matt,
the latest AI news.
I know, always AI.
Yeah.
But Matt, share a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do today.
Sure, yeah, thanks. So I founded my own company last year. It's called Loop AI Consulting, focused really on helping marketers of all stripes adopt AI in helpful, practical, valuable ways. But my career goes all the way back. In fact, a lot of the folks that I know here at HCIC I met when I worked at Boston Children's Hospital back in the early 2010s or the early 2000s, I guess. So I spent a lot of time in healthcare and then leading digital teams in higher ed, and then went over to agency side and led strategy and business development for an agency for a bunch of years, and then decided it was time to do my own thing. So been having fun. Yeah,
you are. And your agency is really focused on AI and AI adoption.
It is.
With healthcare marketing organizations.
Yep.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a reason why you call it Loop Agency too, right?
There
because
is.
You have a big belief that humans should be in the loop. That
it
isn't just AI talking to AI.
It's not just AI talking to AI. We're getting there, of course, right? Agent to agent. But yeah, absolutely. It's all about the human, and it's all about making sure, I always say, like, humanity can benefit from AI, but only if humans are in the loop the whole way. And it's so important in all of my client work and all of the conversations that I have to make sure that folks are sort of owning and embracing the power that they have in this moment. Things are moving so fast, but I think people really do have an opportunity to impact where this all goes.
AI's been around for years.
75 years.
75 years. Wow, that's a long time. But we've heard a lot about it over the last three and a half years. I think that's part of the generative AI movement, because suddenly we had these LLMs that we could talk to, et cetera.
Yeah.
And since then, we have seen this like tidal wave of everything is now AI. And you at this conference, almost every session mentions AI.
Everywhere.
So I love your perspective on that, but then I want to pivot to, like, are we really doing AI?
That's a great question.
But let's talk about, like, what about this momentum? Are we in a hype cycle?
Oh, we're definitely, no question, we're in a hype cycle, but I think we're also in a reality cycle. I mean, I think there is an awful lot of real progress happening and real benefit and opportunity that AI can bring. But is it overhyped? Is it going to burst at some point to some degree? I think probably, just because there's so much noise in the system. But you mentioned the sort of rise of generative AI. Like, we're in the month now. At the end of this month, will be the 3-year anniversary or the 3-year birthday of ChatGPT. It was in November of 2022 when it was released, and it changed so completely the nature of our relationship with technology. Before, as we all know, you sit down, you type into Google, here's my search, I'm going to get 500 million results in 0.2 seconds. And the relationship was over for the most part. It was up to you to figure out what to do next. But when ChatGPT came out, it changed that into a two-way relationship where the AI is now a part of the conversation, helping, guiding, pushing you forward, challenging your thinking. And I think that, to me, is the change that, in a lot of ways, has not yet struck most people yet. And I would say including in healthcare marketing. I think a lot of people still think of AI as web search 2.0, and it really isn't. It's a very different thing, as you well know, and I think that mindset shift is part of where we need to go in the coming year or so. Right.
I mean, myself, I use generative AI so much nowadays for like simple things. I was weeding the garden the other day, and I was using it to say, what is this, and how do I get rid of it?
Oh, I thought maybe you had a robot at home. That would have been even better.
Well, we won't go to those Neo $20,000 robots at home. That's coming.
That'll be here.
But what I'm curious about, though, is we talk about AI a lot.
Yeah.
And people say that healthcare has been adopting AI at a very rapid pace.
Yep.
What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. I was in a great presentation yesterday with a chief information and technology officer from Overlake and a representative from Hyro, and they were saying Healthcare is probably the fastest adopter of AI of any regulated industry. And I think that's true, but I don't think it really tells the whole story. I think the truth of the matter is that from the clinical and the research side, there's enormous adoption of AI, and it's helping with diagnosis of disease and identifying opportunities for cures and lots of other things, including ambient AI in the exam room. But what I'm seeing when I'm talking with healthcare marketing leaders is a lot less adoption. And there's an interest and there's an understanding that it's important and valuable and they need to be doing it. But that gap between knowing that you need to do it and really leaning into finding specific, manageable, tangible ways to do it is still there. And I think folks are still, part of what I think is going on is folks are worried about making a mistake. As you mentioned, this is all moving so fast. This is a tidal wave. And so folks are like, man, what if I invest in something that is out of business in 6 months? And I've made a mistake and I've used what little budget I have on something that's gone. So I think there's a reticence that people have to really lean in. But I would just encourage everybody to take that next step, whatever that is for you, whether it's small or large. A lot of what I've enjoyed about the conversations that I've heard here today is finding those practical use cases. Again, the Overlake CTIO talked about wanting to solve a specific problem in the business and using a use case to help them get there. So I think that's really the opportunity for folks.
Yeah, no, we're not talking, what you're talking about is AI used on a grander scale, on a larger scale. Of course we use it to help us, correct the tone in our emails.
Yes.
And some people use it to help idea starters for blog posts. That's not what we're talking about here.
No.
We're talking about utilizing AI on a larger level to support marketing initiatives.
Absolutely.
Can you give some examples of ways that organizations you're seeing are doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I went to a session yesterday morning. It was one of the master classes, and there was a woman named Ashley from Arkansas Children's Hospital, and she has built her own custom AI tool to help measure the impact of their media campaigns. This is something she did on her own. She's an expert in this field, and she knows how to use these tools. And we actually had dinner with a group last night, and she talked about sitting down and working through the challenge of trying to figure out how to have AI help her with this. And she said, the first time I did it, it wasn't very good, and I thought, man, I'm over my head here. And she kept going. And so she's now got a tool that she can use to measure the impact of any media campaign that they have created there. And that's entirely homegrown. And not everybody has to do it to that degree, but it's a tangible, real use case. And there's many others, right? Using it for helping us understand analytics better, right? Talking to our data. I've heard, many use cases around using it to create content at scale for marketing teams that don't have a huge staff. How do we let AI take on some of the content burden and leaving the humans, back to the human in the loop, for the great storytelling and the human side of that piece of the work. So that's where I think the opportunity really is.
I see also AI does really well with large data sets. And in healthcare, particularly in marketing, we're getting data sets from across the enterprise that are not written in the same formats.
Yes, totally.
That's a really great application, I think, too.
It is.
And those are things that in the past, I remember going through Excel spreadsheets and trying to manually map those through, writing macros.
Totally.
I don't have to do that anymore.
Nope.
Right? It's all there. And that's where these tools really are very powerful. So
absolutely.
There's a reticence maybe or a reluctance for us to do that because we're afraid of it, the safety. Maybe we got burned by the apocalypse, right? As Ben Dillon calls it. Where with Google, where they said, hey, you can't use this anymore, it's not HIPAA compliant. What are some other things that may be preventing us from adopting it quicker?
That's a great question. So I do think that it is, we're in a highly regulated industry, right? To your point, there are things that have to be in place in order for this data to be protected as it should be. And so I think, feeling the confidence that you're going to select tools and partners who can help you with those challenges, I think is a huge piece of it. So yes, it's that reticence around, with good reason, data security and privacy. I think it's also a little bit like all of the folks that are here and around the country and around the world who are leading marketing teams, they're busy. They've got a lot on their plates. Those demands are not getting fewer. Their teams are not getting bigger. Their budgets are not getting bigger. So they're having to do more with less. And so I think there's an opportunity here, or maybe a fear of, if I step forward into something like AI, am I going to take my energy and attention away from something else that I need to be doing, that I'm going to be responsible for? And again, I think starting small is really the way to do it, is that it doesn't have to be an all-in thing. It can be something that is incremental and beneficial, but it's got to solve a pain point. There's a great phrase, aspirin, not vitamins, right?
Yeah.
Solve for the pain, not for the long-term benefit. And we're all in various ways dealing with different kinds of pain in our marketing world. Let's find ways to solve some of those pains, and even a small way, it'll make a big difference.
Well, let's be fair, right? We're not always incented to try and fail.
Right,
right?
yes, that is
that
true.
experimental nature is something that we need to start changing our mindset around.
Yes,
But the good news is that AI is very adaptable to that.
It is,
right?
yeah.
Obviously, you have to check to see whatever you're doing
do,
with the
yeah.
results match reality.
Yeah.
It's always still there.
It is.
But hallucinations still exist.
They do.
But I love the idea of, if there's something that's a pain point for you and you're like, there's got to be a better way, that might be the signal to you.
Yes.
To say, hey,
Yeah.
can we use this this tool, this very nimble new tool, to help us, right?
And the wonderful thing about it is that, there's so many kinds of these tools, right? I mean, they do different things. They do different things very well. And I always encourage folks, like, if you're using ChatGPT or Claude or one of the LLMs, that's great. It's a fantastic place to start. But challenge yourself to try other tools as well, because they're not all the same. They're not all good at the same things.
Right.
And I often will find myself even taking outputs from one tool and putting them in another and checking the answers just to see what kinds of different solutions I get from that. And I think that sort of fun experimentation, I think, is something that I would just encourage folks to really lean into, because it's, you're going to find that one thing that's going to resonate with you personally and specifically, that's going to be your aha moment. And then I think it's off to the races from there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it also helps to have people like you in the industry to kind of help, give some guidance, because we're often can't see the forest for the trees, right? Because we're so immersed in the current day-to-day.
Yeah, it's interesting. So a few weeks ago, for those, I'm not sure if your audience has been to or heard of the Marketing AI Conference, but it happens every fall in Cleveland. It's put on by the Marketing AI Institute. Can't recommend it highly enough. I was there a few weeks ago, and it was fascinating to see the divide that started to appear there. On the one end, you have people who are like me, owning and operating a business focused on AI or using it heavily in their work. But then on the other end, you had a really large group of folks who were just getting started. And that gap, I think, is only going to increase if folks sort of don't get started, right? We're still at a place where you can catch up and can still close that gap. But I would just encourage folks to lean into it and to try to find some way to adopt and adapt to AI in their world in a small way that makes sense to them, because I think ultimately we're all going to benefit from it. But again, as that human in the loop, you've got to be the one who's guiding your own future, and the only way to do that is to really understand these tools.
And get off the sidelines.
You can get off the sidelines,
because
100%.
if you don't,
it's
others
going to pass
will.
you by. They're going to run right past you on the highway.
Right. Your competitors are doing it too.
Yes, they are.
Matt, great conversation.
Yeah,
I always appreciate sitting down and chatting with you.
Absolutely.
I know we got a little nerdy about AI, but I think it's
it.
really important for people to understand. The time is now. Let's do it.
It is. I appreciate the chance to talk to you about this again. It's always fun. And let's keep it going.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Take care.
Thanks.